Hi, and welcome back to this week's edition of Hawk Talk. I'm Coulter Hickok.
I'm Mackenzie Grubbs.
And we've got a frequent flyer on. Like, you've been on quite a bit.
Yeah.
But not as of recently, so please introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what do you do here at DSU.
I'm Jennifer Willis. I'm the head volleyball coach, assistant track, and sports information director, or assistant sports information director. I am from here now, honestly, but originally Miles City, Montana. So, yeah.
Montana.
I know, okay.
I have to tell Kenzie every time we have a Montana person on, just because I like to rub it in her face and think that Montana's better than Wyoming.
We started out the year with a lot of Wyoming people, and now it's just been Montana.
Montana making a comeback.
Exactly. So, how is the year different this year than all of the other years of DSU volleyball?
So we split our season. So we're we played half our matches in the fall, and now we're playing half in the spring. So we actually started already. We had a game on Monday night against Valley City, and it's just kind of weird to be playing volleyball that counts in the spring. We usually do some spring ball, and it's just kind of like fun scrimmages and stuff like that, but this actually matters. And then, yeah, everyone goes to the tournament this year too, so you just get seeding, and then the top 4 seeds host. So, yeah.
So maybe a hopeful home playoff game?
I mean, we're a long ways away from that. So
Okay.
Yeah, we're just focused on Viterbo this weekend.
Yeah, it's exciting. Okay, so there's a lot of athletes at DSU that do 2 sports.
Yes.
So how has that been? Like, is the whole team back for the spring ball, or?
Yeah, so we did lose some to track. You were one of them, actually. Kenzie competed for us in the fall, and now that she's doing track, she's going to just focus on track. And there are some that are doing both or trying to kind of maneuver both, but you being a multi and everything, it's a lot more challenging, definitely. But other than that, everyone is back. And then we actually gained a player this year, this semester too. Kaya, she's from Colstrip, Montana, so. Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Another Montana person.
Yeah.
So I know football got their year of eligibility back because the NAIA decided to give them their year back. Did the same thing happen for volleyball?
It did, yep. So it's weird to think about. It's like a free year, but to us it still matters, it still counts. So yeah.
So what's your guys' schedule looking like for the month of March? Kenzie told me it was a little bit crazy.
It is. So we have conference matches right away, starting this Friday actually, and then we basically have a travel trip this weekend, and then it's home the rest of the time until the tournament, and then we'll find out where we go or if we stay at home. And so it's really fast and furious this spring, and everything gets kind of crammed into 1 month basically, in just a little short snippet of April. So we'll see what happens. We're excited though. The team is so excited and just ready to play. So we're really excited, as you can tell.
Right.
Yeah.
So this year looking different, how have you guys prepared to play like conference games in the spring?
That was probably the most challenging part of it, is how to keep, not get too rusty during this off time, which was like our winter months, but also not overdo it and overtrain. And so it was kind of hard maneuvering that, but we basically just took however many weeks we were allotted, which was 28, and just kind of went from there and kind of worked backwards for when we would start. We started officially on February 15th with practicing, and it was like having another preseason. So it was kind of interesting to start preseason all over again when we had one in August already, but the team did really well with it. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so you've been on here before, so we do ask a couple fun questions. So yesterday, while we were kind of brainstorming some questions, we were wondering if you could come back and play one game, who would you want to play against?
Honestly, I would say Jamestown, just because when I was in college, they were still in our conference, and we did play them, and it was always such a competitive match, and you just always want to beat the Jimmies, and they always want to beat the Blue Hawks, and so it was always really competitive and fun, and yeah, definitely I would say Jamestown.
That is fun.
That would be a really fun game to see. Hopefully they come back in the conference. I mean, at some point, which I hope is very soon, because that would be a very good game to see again, Jamestown versus DSU.
Definitely, yeah.
So sometimes we ask people, what's their favorite volleyball movie? When we looked this up, Castaway came up. So then I thought of this question. If you were stranded on a desert island, what would you name your volleyball?
So I was like Wilson, obviously, but I would probably say like Tom or Tom Hanks, just to dedicate it to the legend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, like you just said, you guys had your first game against Valley City. As a coach, how do you guys think the team performed? And is there anything to work on as you go on a road game this coming week?
You could definitely tell it was our first match after 5 months being off, or 4 months, whatever it was. We had to kind of get the rust off in the first couple sets, and by the end of it, it was like we were grooving a lot better and stuff like that, playing our game the whole time and stuff. And but yeah, you could definitely tell we were a little rusty in the beginning. So we're just excited to have the opportunity now to kind of work on what we needed to work on in practice this week, and then we get to play again right away. So
it's fun. It's fun to have some spring ball going on.
It is.
Okay, so during your tenure at DSU, how have you seen the school change over the years?
Oh, we've seen so many changes, even from when I was an athlete to now. So much has changed. But I think one of the best changes that we've had is like our new president, and the role that he's played, especially with like athletics. He's so supportive. I mean, how many programs can say that their president emails them that he apologizes for not being at the game because he was at like another meeting, and tells you like congrats on the win, and it was a tough loss from being down in the 5th set, and you could tell he watched the match, and we just really appreciated that. Something else too that I noticed is just like the community support is so big now, and it just continues to grow, and we just appreciate everybody so much for that, and it just makes being a coach here, being a former athlete here, like that much better. So, yeah.
It's awesome.
Yes.
President Easton is pretty awesome.
He is. He's a busy dude.
He is. So Coulter and I are both on Student Senate, which you might know. I don't know, but
yeah.
So, and President Easton actually is our advisor. So that's like, it's been awesome to have somebody, and he's just so involved in everything that the students do, and he truly cares about this university.
And he's also a big fan of Hawk Talk. He did tell us that he kind of binge watches Hawk Talk.
That's funny.
So,
good.
Yeah.
So, Coach Willis, thank you very much for coming on.
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thank you.
guys.
Good luck to you guys this weekend.
Thank you. Yes.
Kenzie and I will be right back with another frequent flyer right after this.
Blue Hawk!
And we're back with, I think, with our most frequent flyer that we've ever had on the show. I mean, people know him, people love him, but Coach, please introduce yourself again, who you are, where you're from, and what do you do here at DSU?
I'm Pete Stanton. I've been at Dickinson State, for the last 20 years. I came here in 2000. I'm originally from Baker, Montana. I went to college here at Dickinson State from 84 to 89, a long time ago, and then coached out in Montana for 11 years before coming back to Dickinson State in 2000. And I was a head track coach from 2000 until 2013, and also was assistant football coach at that time, and then took over as in football in 2013, and then athletic director in 2016.
I won't even mention it. Montana guy, though.
Okay. You did mention it, though. Okay. Okay, so this year is different from most, which we all know, but what does the spring look like for you guys this year as opposed to previous years?
Yeah, it's very different as far as the end goal. I think as far as the time schedule, it's pretty similar. We usually do 8 weeks of strength and conditioning in January and February, and our guys are doing that right now in the mornings in 3 groups, and they'll finish that up actually next week before going to spring break. And we're going to get a couple practices in before spring break, and that's typically what we would normally do in a spring break, in a normal year. And then we're going to come back after spring break, and then that's where the differences will start. Generally we would come and practice 2 or 3 times a week after spring break, and now we'll practice every day and really getting ourselves ready for the playoffs. And the playoffs start April 17th, is when the first playoff game will be. And it's a unique year in the fact that about half the NAI conferences played in the fall and about half played in the spring. So it's a unique year that way. We're just going to make the best of it. And we're just glad we got our season in the fall and going to make the best of it.
Perfect. So Blue Hawk football is ranked 12th in the nation. So what are the odds getting a home playoff game?
You know, it's just really hard to say. We're hoping we'd be ranked a little bit higher than that. You know, we got to be in the top 8 when things shake out at the end. That could still happen. There's teams that are 0-0 that are ahead of us. You know, and we're there's only one team that's done. You know, that's right ahead of us, but you know, we're hoping to be able to do that. It's been a long time since we've had a home game. It was 2005, or excuse me, 2004 was the last year that we had one. And it used to be where Dickinson State could bid and, you know, win the bid and outbid that. Now it's based on the rankings, and so we're hoping for that. But we just don't know until April 10th. Really, we won't have any idea until April 10th.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's kind of a quick, like, I don't know, I feel like that's not a lot. 7 days isn't a lot of time.
Yeah,
Not really.
Yeah, it is. It's an unusual year for sure.
So how many players are returning for the spring that came and played in the fall now that the NAIA gave back the year of eligibility?
You know, most all of our guys are back. You know, we graduated, I believe, 6 seniors, and they finished in December. And what we were able to do with them is just the NAIA just allowed them just to take 1 credit this spring, and they're all doing that, and it's worked out really well. So, you know, the interesting part is going to be, you know, as you guys know, that's just going to be going forward, you know, where you have now people that have that extra year of eligibility, but, you know, really we want to just keep them on course for graduation and keep them on their academic track. And if there's a, you know, person or two where it works out that they go an extra year, that'll be fine. But for the most part, we're going to move along because we have, you know, an incoming class of freshmen coming, and so we might have a few come back next year, but all of our guys will be around this spring.
I gotta fill a lot of lockers then. Fill a lot of lockers for next year then.
Yes, there's a lot of lockers for next year. Yeah, a lot of work to do next year.
So this is a little bit of older news, but the North Star got a new team added. So as the AD, what does that look like for next year for scheduling?
Well, we had to switch around the schedule, and Iowa Wesleyan is the team that's in the league now, and we saw it as a win-win for our conference to have have a 7th team in there. Then it's just a situation where you don't have to play as many teams twice. Also a situation if something ever happened with somebody in the conference, we'd still, you know, have that automatic bid with 6 teams in there. So it did change up our schedule. It put a bye in the middle of the season. It did, you know, puts a long trip for us every other year. You know, what we're going to do with that is with Waldorf and Iowa Wesleyan is we'll just switch where we're at Waldorf this year, and then we'll be at Iowa Wesleyan next year. So it really just puts us that one long trip. But I think it's a win for our conference to have that other team in there and mix up the schedule.
Awesome.
Okay, time for some fun questions. Take a break. Well, I guess it still kind of relates to football, but who on the coaching staff would win in an arm wrestling tournament?
Well, I think what we'd have to do is probably, you know, the older coaches, not me. So we're gonna go with Coach Thier but I think we'll have a matchup, I think, with Coach Thier, and then we'll take our younger coaches. And Coulter, I'm not doubting you at all either, but
I'm just saying, you know, Coach, I can still do it.
I think we'll take Dalton Reed on the other end, and I think maybe we can sell some tickets and have Coach Thier and Dalton Reed maybe on your show right here on the table the next time, and have a little arm wrestle contest to see. But I think it'd probably be one of those two.
I feel like we couldn't have it like in a big stadium, so this is a pay-per-view event. You can register at DSUBlueHawks.com. Definitely cannot do that. It's still in the works. So, if you could play a college football game again, who would you want to play against?
As far as the team, you know, the teams that we always played against and had our biggest rivalries with, and it's too bad it's not that way anymore, where, you know, obviously Minot State was one, you know, when I was playing, and then right as you know, as I was leaving, then the University of Mary was there at the same time, and then of course Jamestown's not in our conference anymore. So I guess if we had our druthers, we'd continue to play those schools, and Black Hill State. Those were our traditional rivalries over the year that were part of the conference, and people, you know, really associated with those schools. And when they came to Dickinson and Dickinson went to those places, we obviously had a high interest level, and it's unfortunate that way too. But we're so if I had my druthers, probably those rival schools in the region. Then of course the Montana schools with Rocky Mountain and Carroll. Those are all schools that we just really enjoyed playing.
We asked the same question to Coach Willis, but for volleyball, and she said Jamestown would be her pick.
So I gave you the longer version then, right? But
you gave us a very elaborate answer.
Minot and Marion Rocky, if I had to pick the top three.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so this year looking a little different, but what are you most looking forward to in the coming weeks here?
I think it's just going to be a lot of excitement and really busy. And, I think you look at all the sports that are going on, it's going to be such a unique time here over the next 2 months where literally, besides basketball just finishing up and then wrestling's finishing up this weekend, about every sport here that we have left that's going at the same time. So it's going to be very unique in that volleyball games and football games and scrimmages are going on, and in April at the same time that's track's going on, and then you have the national cross country meet going on at the same time, and golf and baseball and softball and cheer, and so everything's going at once. So we're really looking forward to it. It's just going to be a unique year, and it's just really actually more just excited that a lot of our athletes got the opportunity to participate. When we all sat back in August and we had all this going on and the pandemic starting, we weren't sure what was going to happen. So I'm really, really happy that all of our student athletes get the opportunity to compete this year.
Awesome. Now, as I mentioned at the very beginning of the episode, I think you're our most frequent flyer, so we have asked you our last question a multitude of times. We've asked you a different variety, but I think we got one where we haven't asked you yet. So in your tenure at DSU, how have you seen it change over the years?
Oh boy, I don't think the student athletes have changed. I guess the change that I like the most is we have a lot more women in athletics than we maybe did, especially in the 80s when I was here, but even 20 years ago. So at that time softball was just starting, and we didn't have a lot of women in some of the other sports as far as the numbers, and so I think that's probably the most exciting thing for me is to see out the women that are participating in big numbers in all of our programs, and I think that's one of the biggest changes.
Coach, it's been a pleasure to have you on. For the many times I've interviewed you, this is probably one of my favorite times to interview you right now.
Well, we appreciate you and thanks for all you guys do. You're just doing really good things, and it's exciting to have you guys do this and students at Dickinson State and making a difference. So thanks for what you guys are doing as well.
Anytime. Always here to help.
All right.
Kenzie and I will be right back for the recap right after this. And we're back for the recap. I mean, we had a lot of things going on this past weekend.
Yeah, it's kind of the closing of everything.
So, say for instance, basketball. So basketball, they finished up their season. The men's lost in their playoff game, but the girls won against their playoff game, but then lost in their second playoff game against Bellevue.
Yes.
So we have their postseason honors. So we have Bryce Knox. He was the newcomer of the year. So congrats to him. He was a Blue Hawk alumni. Came on the show. Congrats to him. Ideen Tosage, he was honorable mention in the North Star. Same with John Evans. And Jalen Tinnen, the champion of character. I mispronounced it. It's Jalon Tinnen.
Okay.
I'd always do that when I was announcing. So Jalon Tinnen, I apologize for that. But he was the champion of character for the Blue Hawks. So congrats to all those guys.
Yeah. And for girls basketball, like Coulter said, they did lose in their second playoff game, but it's pretty exciting to even make it to the playoffs. So congrats, ladies, on that. And then we had Courtney Olsen. She made first team, so that's exciting.
Also, Blue Hawk alumni.
Yes, also. And Dakota Dosh, I think that's how you say her name.
Not Blue Hawk alumni, Hawk Talk alumni. That's what I meant to say.
Okay,
That's what I meant to say.
Okay, but Dakota got champion of character, so congratulations, Dakota. That's always an exciting reward. It's kind of...
I mean, also Hawk Talk alumni.
Yes.
So congrats to all those guys. Big fan of the whole team. It was really fun to announce both the men's and the women's basketball games. So congrats to all of them. So volleyball. Volleyball had 1 in 5 against Valley City. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was an exciting game to watch.
So where are they at
2010. This coming weekend, they're headed to Viterbo, so that's a conference game. So good luck, Hawks.
And Payson Dirk. Payson will be competing at Nationals this weekend. So
Yes.
congrats to him. He's going to be the lone Hawk over there. I saw a tweet that he had. He said if anybody wants to play dodgeball, he's up for it.
And Cheer had an exciting year, honestly. Like, this is their first competitive year, and they were 3rd in the region, which is very exciting. And then to top it off, they were 15th in the nation. That's huge.
For their first go-around, congrats to all the cheer team. Coach C.B. Schneider and Coach Takia Schneider did an amazing job, so
Yeah.
congrats to all of them.
Okay.
If I can turn this page. Baseball's headed to Yankton this weekend. They've got 2 games over there, so good luck to the baseball team.
And softball. So softball just added 2 scrimmages this week. Actually, it kind of was a last-minute add, but beautiful weather this week. It's kind of a good week to get outside and get some softball in. So good luck to those Hawks this week. And then finally track. They are also headed to nationals. So I think, yes. So we do have 2 Hawks competing today. Renzi will be competing in the multi today, and then Emily Kolstad will be running her 800 or 600 today. So good luck, ladies, and we're excited to see how all you guys do down at nationals.
That was a lot of stuff.
That was a lot.
So I think with that, Hawks are
Hawks
up.
are up.